better if we like 90.
60 is fine. 48 is what we use a lot. 58 single strand is my favorite.
Single strand, okay.
So if I don't like that 90.
Don't like the 90.
You said single strand?
This is 58 single strand.
58, okay.
So I'm going to shoot it down.
58 test? Yeah, 58
Yeah.
pound test single strand.
That's for if you're gonna fly line a bait fish for them. 58 single works plenty good.
How long with the what?
Bomb, it's fine. Any 60 is good, 90 is better. You know, when we're down a hurricane or Clarion, it's even heavier than that. Not at first.
Not at first.
Not at first.
Okay. So I'm not even going to change it.
Yeah. I got one of the skinny bombs on here. Usually when the Wahoo show up and you're the first boat on them, and no one's hit them, then they get to the rocks, they're very aggressive. So they'll go after almost everything. Jigs, bombs, wire. You know, we troll the Marauders. They've got like 250-pound wire on the Marauders behind the boat, and they don't have a problem jumping on them. Now, we haven't caught any yet. They show up sometime, usually end of July, August, but we haven't seen them yet. We haven't caught any down here yet, but like I said yesterday, we're going to be ready for them just in case they have shown up in the last couple of days. Wahoo fishing. Before we talk of trolling, we'll talk jigging. Okay, I got my bomb or my jig. I'm throwing it out there or pitching it out on the side, which somebody gets bit on the troll and we're fishing the slide. I get it out there. I usually give it a good 15 count, letting it sink out. Get it, you know, almost 40, 45 degree angle. We're in gear, and now we're just winding as fast as we can. Wind as fast as we can back up to the boat. And when they grab a hold of it or you get stopped, you just keep turning the handle. It's really hard to do. They're pulling on it, but you don't stop. You just keep turning the handle. You don't want to swing. You don't want to put a bend in the rod. You just want to keep it pointed at them and keep turning the handle as much as you can. They're really hard, bony mouths, and a lot of times that hook isn't in through there. It hasn't gone through the bone or penetrated to give you a good hook set. They just have it in their mouth. And because you have the tension on the line and you keep it on the line, you keep that hook on there until at some point they're shaking their head and you bury that hook. But if you try to stop and swing or put a bend in the rod, you end up losing them. My first 10 or 12 Wahoo I ever hooked in my career, I end up putting a bend in the rod and watching them snap me off or lose them or whatever, or chew up the wire. Key is when you get stopped, you just keep turning the handle, oh, bit, and you just do like this. It's exciting, it's fun, but you just keep turning the handle. High gear all the time, turning the handle, turning the handle, turning the handle. One of your coaches is going to be right there next to you. If your Wahoo takes off on a mad 50-mile-an-hour scream up the side of the boat, one of the guys is going to, hey, let me have your rod. Immediately let him have it. I got it. And then you're going to let him have it so he can take off and catch up to your fish. There's a lot of times he's going to make it up and around the pointy end of the boat and come down the side. You don't even have to chase your crew member down. He can walk over to the other side of the boat and walk up, and you'll meet him coming down the other side. And it really happens like that. It's real fast. It's very exciting. Wahoo are my favorite fish to go after. Of all the fishing during the year, I have more fun chasing Wahoo than anything else, just because of the excitement. They're very fast. They're dangerous, which we'll go over in a little bit, but they're a little bit more of a stealthy fish. You don't catch a lot of them on the early trips this time of year, but when they do come up, it can be a lot of fun. More like having a trophy. Wahoo is also one of the best eating fish they are out there. My family is really picky, and they really don't want any tuna. They like cod only, but you can bring those Wahoo things. They tell me. So you're throwing the bomb out, you're sinking it out, 45, you wind in, you don't get bit. This is real important. When you get to the side of the boat, you stop. Give it a 1 to a 5 count. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. You're looking at your jig laying there in the water. A Wahoo's not shooting out from under the boat or chasing it down from the trolling area. Now I can pick it up, get back to casting, low bridge, going out and cast again. But that 1001 or 1003 to 1005 count is very important. Wahoo can be chasing it in very fast that you don't see it. If you just wind in, oh, I'm not bitten, you pick it up out of the water, you're asking for trouble. 2 years ago on this boat, we're down at Hurricane, guy winds his jig in, doesn't get bit, picks it up out of the water like this. I was on the corner over there helping another person and watched the Wahoo jump out of the water, come under the rail and hit him in the leg because it was chasing his jig and tried to grab his jig in midair. Luckily, it had its mouth closed when it hit him. All it did was give him a big bruise on his leg, but it could have opened him up really bad.
You didn't get to keep the fish.
The fish bounced right back out into the water and got away. We would have given it to Javier anyway because he blew it by not stopping. Okay, so 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Very important that you do that each time. You bring your jig in, count, make sure nothing's chasing it. Now it's safe to pick it up out of the water, look around behind you, low bridge going out, and cast again. Now if we get bit on the troll, someone gets bit, you drop out on the slide, you bring it in, you don't get bit, you cast again, you don't get bit. I see a lot of people stop fishing after a couple of times. They cast a couple of times, maybe one guy got bit on a jig or on the slide, or we got a bait fish going, we've got our troll fish in the boat now, and guys end up stopping and just waiting like this for the next, troll stop. The next team's gonna get up there and they wait. The most successful Wahoo anglers I see get in as many casts as they can every stop. Sometimes it takes 8 or 10 casts and then they finally hook one, but they don't stop. I've seen guys that get a troll fish in the boat, we hit it in the head and stun it, get his troll fish, we tag it for him, he runs up the side, gets his jig fish, and on the 6th or 7th cast, half the other people have stopped fishing, he hooks another one. Because he just keeps going, he gets his jig out as many times as he can in every stop. Real important to keep winding, keep trying, and always casting, going out, low bridge, and keep turning the handle, keep turning the handle. It's the number one thing is to not stop turning this handle. A lot of times they just got it in their mouth, you'll get them up to the boat, we'll gaff them, the jig will fall out. But if you stop turning the handle or put a big bend in the rod, they'll drop it. And you'll see that if they're around, you'll get it right to the boat, and he'll open his mouth and let go of your jig. Kind of like a tuna, they like you to see them before they do that. Don't know why they won't do it way out behind the boat. We all got nice skinny bombs that the guys were gracious enough to donate for the trip. I'd use them, put them on there. They're wired up for you already. Again, they're pretty aggressive when they first get here. And other boats haven't hit them or anything. You don't have to start getting stealthy and throwing jigs with straight mono and things like that. The wire's not going to scare them off at the beginning. Now if they are here and we whack them really good the first day, now the second day they're going to back off a little bit and we'll start going a little stealthier with less wire, more bait fish, more wire leaders, which we'll talk about. But generally at first they're real aggressive and you don't have to worry about anything. I would use a wired up bomb like this. This is the one that's tied on a boat rod. I'm going to lead it there because they're not going to be shy about eating the wire at first. Now, like on wood, we hope they're there. We hope they've shown up and we get a shot at them. I like to throw them on 50 pound, even up to 60 pound throwing jigs now. I was always a 50 pound guy, and last year one of the really good Wahoo fishermen on one of our long trips said he had switched to 60 pound throwing jigs and bombs. So I switched to 60 pound and it really makes a difference. They don't break you off as easy, you get more drag on them, you get bit, you can get the line tight, you can keep turning the handle and you can kind of drag them into the boat. Most of the time they're not going to fight you too long or go down on you. They'll be shaking their head and swimming towards the boat, and as long as you keep cranking you can get them in pretty quickly. They might make that one initial run, but then they're done and you can crank them in. So 50 or 60 pound when you're throwing your jigs or your bombs. If you need Wahoo stuff, please come upstairs and see us. We have lots of bait leaders, wire leaders made up. We have lots of Raider jigs, lots of bombs. We've got skinny bombs, Burns bombs, catchy tackle bombs. We got all the stuff you need. So if you need things, please come and see us. These wire leaders that we've got made up are made up by Kona. He's one of the best. Out of all of us, he has the nicest haywire twist, and he can take this 58 pound wire and make a bait leader on it very nicely. We do 2 of these per bag for 10 bucks. It's an excellent deal. You got a nice ring on it, your haywire twist to a 2/0 J hook. It's an excellent fishing leader, bait leader for sliding your sardines back. So this is really good. If you need any of these, please come upstairs and see us. This is 58 pound single strand. It's probably my favorite. They don't chew it off very often. Sometimes when they're very aggressive, they'll eat your bait and keep chewing and eventually get up here and cut you off. But not very often. I have seen them do it. I've seen it down here at times where a 3-foot wire leader is not long enough, where they'll chew right up it, just keep going. But that's how they are. When they bite, their mouths are going like this all the time. Questions or comments? Okay, when we're trolling, we got troll team 1 out there. Troll team 1 gets bit. One guy's bit. It's your responsibility, if you're on the team, to wind in that jig, get it out of the water, put it over here on the trolling rod holders, which the 4 boat rod holders will be over there, and get it out of the way. Oftentimes a crew member will come up to you and go, hey, go grab your jig stick, I'll get it for you. Don't take off, because what we're doing is free spooling the reel, immediately dropping the jig back, putting it in gear, and a lot of times we're going to hook one. Well, if you've taken off to get your jig stick, we hook one, we look around to whoever's next, and we'll hand it off. So just pause for a minute, because that's a trick we do, where we'll free spool a big catchy bomb or one of our marauders and get it back on the slide and then crank it in really fast, and a lot of times we'll hook up that way. But if we decide to bring it in for you, then you're free to take off and it's not your responsibility anymore. But we want you to bring it in and not leave it hanging out there. When you bring it in, please take a moment to hook the jig either on the reel or on the back side of the reel like so. Get the line tight so that it's safe and secure. I haven't fished Wahoo with you guys before. I'm going to tell you the story. We had a guy on another boat that I previously worked on. We're at the Hurricane Bank on a 19-day trip. It was an 18-day that got extended to a 19-day so that we could go to Clipperton. We got bit, and we're at the Hurricane. It's the first day of fishing. He didn't get bit. He brought his Marauder in, and it's one of the really big ones. It's got a 20-0 J-hook on it, a couple of them, and he wants to go get his bait stick, and he's in such a hurry that he grabs his rod and he's dragging his Marauder on the deck, running up the side to put his rod away. Well, before he got up there, one foot got the line and pulled the Marauder into his other foot. The 20-0 hook went through his rubber boot, through the bottom, and came up through the top. All the way through his foot, right up to the top of the boot. On the first day of fishing on that trip. So please take a moment, it only takes a couple of seconds, put the jig in a nice safe place, tighten the line up, and then put it away. That way nobody gets hooked. He was really scared when Bruce came in there and had 3-foot long bolt cutters to cut the eye of the hook off so that we could bring the hook through this foot. But he was pretty sore for the rest of the trip. Okay? So let's be safe, let's think safety. Always take a moment to put our jigs back behind there and put it away properly.